Hello and welcome. I am the Suit&Tie Dip&ChewGuy, and this is the 6th add-on and 26th overall review of series number 11, NA, North American Market Snus. And we will be taking a look at the third and final Grizzly product. This is my review of Artic Blue. Now, first thing right out the gate, why they kept in line with dip flavors, natural wintergreen, and then decided not to go with mint and went with Artic Blue. I do not know. I don't even know what the thing. I would like to know. I'd like to know what the thinking is on that, but I have a feeling it's more of a lack of thinking. So, these three reviews I said in the last video, and it was in the description of the first one, these three reviews are made possible by funding from Still Lurkin. So, Still Lurkin, thank you. We're going to take this over to the desk and take a look at the packaging and the product inside. Okay, so here we are. I am going to reiterate something here. So it keeps coming up in comment sections, and you know, people probably didn't hear the part where I've mentioned this repeatedly, but these look package-wise exactly like the Camel snus products. That is because Grizzly, which is of American Snuff, and Camel have the same parent company. Now, are the products inside the same as Camel? Initially, I thought no, because the natural hit me very differently than the corresponding Camel product. But now that I bought a second tin of it, I am not as sure as I was before. So we may be delving deeper into that at a future time. But right now we're going to be taking a look at this Artic Blue that is 15 no spit tobacco pouches. Now, it is manufactured by American Snuff Company, which is headquartered out of Memphis, Tennessee. The banding on this is like really doubled over, which is why you're having a hard time seeing Memphis there. It is tax class M, as is all dip. However, unlike dip, this is only a 15-gram container product inside, that is. It is 100% imported tobacco. Sales only allowed in the United States. And there is your contact information. I did not go over these side things before. You have a lot number down bottom there. Not overly concerned. On the back, it is all pretty straightforward. There is another code right here, but again, I am not overly concerned with these. One, it's new to my area, so the stock in store is fairly fresh, like it's only gotten there recently. And two, these containers do have a gasket. So the container is basically two halves, okay? This bottom half comes underneath this top half, basically up to the top, and the top comes over halfway down over that. All right, so we're going to open into it here, and it's usually at the top of the packaging. I have had misprints on these in the past, the Camel versions, but it's usually a tear off right there, and then around. All right. Pressing the thumb in and then lifting with your nail, and that is your product inside. As I said, there is a gasket that goes around this. All right. I have tested the Camel versions of this packaging out before. After the product is out of it, has been used, I have filled these with water and closed them and sort of abused the packaging, and water does not come out. Water has come out before because I've done it multiple times, but the norm is the water does not come out. So this is what you're looking at. It is set up like a standard dip pouch, only the dimensions are a little bit smaller. There is less product inside, and the pouch material is actually not quite as big. That said, as far as snus, depending on if you want to look at this as snus, they're pretty fat pouches. So you got two end seams and you got one running down the back. All right. The material is good. The product inside is drier than any dip product, obviously, which is why there's not heavy staining on the pouch material. But by feeling how pillowy the pouch is, you can tell there is moisture there. And in fact, there are sometimes, and I'm not sure if we're going to have one here, there is sometimes some staining. Usually on ends that have been compacted into pouches around them. So there's some there. This one got it on both ends. And I have seen some staining actually in the middle of these. I'm not seeing any in this particular can. So it is a very fresh, now that I've put more thought into it, suspiciously frost-like smell coming off it, if everybody knows what frost is. Anyway, we're going to go back up top here, and I'm going to see what I think. And we're back. That's my subdued, and I'm back. I said we that time. Sometimes I like to switch it up a little bit. So moving on. It's a pretty strong, sweet mint smell. But it's almost, it's not quite dip. It doesn't have the tobacco backing, so it's a little bit different. It's obviously mint. It's obviously peppermint, okay? All mint dip is peppermint, all right? Except for the obvious outlier, which is named spearmint, made by Skoal, and that's why they highlight spearmint. It's not just because they couldn't just put mint. They wanted it. That's making it different. All right. So I'm gonna just throw one of these in. Let me get the fluffed up one. I'm putting these in the bottom. Anybody that is buying a snus product that's branded Grizzly is probably not deep in the snus world. So these people will be doing what I'm doing right now. That, and I need the flavor to start coming through here a little faster. So, actual Swedish snus, how it is used by people that are very into snus. This is for people that do not know, obviously, most of you will. People that are very into snus, how it's used in Sweden, where most, or not all, but a lot of snus comes from, it's put in the upper, all right? It creates less saliva up there. And that is part of the reason why, although some of it's because it's a lot stronger, that is why the pouches tend to be thinner, not as fat, sometimes long enough, but not, because they're trying to keep it discreet up top. Traditionally, even loose snus was put up top. Okay, so it's there seems to be a lot of cooling sensation, which I do not remember from the Camel Frost, which I have done a review of. There seems to be a lot of cooling sensation, and you can't really get the tobacco background of dip, okay? Flavor is reminiscent of frost, somewhat suspiciously. I should just start doing something like when something's suspicious, I should just start doing like a movement with one of my eyebrows, but I'll have to think on that. There's a lot of cooling sensation with this. And it doesn't seem, from what I remember, keeping in mind the Camel products I have not, and last time I had one was probably a review one here, it might have been like 3 years ago. This doesn't seem as sweet to what I remember with the Camel Frost. It's good. Nicotine's there. There is actually some contact feel besides the cooling aspect. I'm wondering what they're doing with the cooling aspect. It's got to be like maybe menthol. I'm not sure. And being an American product, I'm guessing they'd probably just go with menthol. It is a sweet product. Okay, I mean, the wintergreen was to an extent too. So keep that in mind. There's not going to be as much flavor as, let's say, like Stoker's Mint. There's definitely not going to be as much. The flavor is good, though. And I find it interesting that there's as much mouthfeel as there is. All in all, another good showing. I am questioning some aspects of this product's line's relation to the Camel line. I'm also questioning as to why they deviated, and that in my mind that is like, why exactly did you? So the first product was natural. Okay, it's being branded Grizzly. That's going to play with dippers. The second one was wintergreen. Same story. The third one, they don't go with mint, though. They go with something that you would think you would see in the Camel line, the way that stuff. So in the Camel line, mint is frost. Wintergreen is winter chill. Their natural is very sweet and not really, the small natural is very sweet, and that would be mellow. And then their Swedish Snus natural inspired one is robust. Now, between the robust and Grizzly's natural, I remembered the robust being a lot flavor-wise harsher, to tell you the truth. Not as pleasant. Maybe the product has changed. It has been a while, and that's why I need to look into this. But I'm making this into something else. So this has been my review of Arctic Blue, the mint snus branded by Grizzly from American Snuff Company, which is headquartered out of Memphis, Tennessee. I am the Suit&Tie Dip&ChewGuy. I do thank you for watching. I would like to thank Still Lurkin again for the donation that paid for these products. I do hope all of you are well. As always, do take care of yourselves, and God bless.